Hi, my name is Jeremy and I'm a Christian. We're currently going through one of the craziest, most surreal, most unpredictable times in any of our lifetimes. We're going through the COVID-19 pandemic. And during this time, I've been really fascinated to watch people as they engage, from whether it's hoarding toilet paper or buying up all the protein in the store or just bunkering down and prepping for the end of the world. Lysol has literally become more scarce than gold and silver in the last few weeks. And it's been just bewildering to experience. In fact, I remember the first time I walked into a grocery store and the shelves were just cleared. And I had this thought, will there be enough food for me and my family in the coming weeks? And then, being someone who's connected to the nonprofit world, my income is directly connected to the generosity of others. My financial future is at stake and at risk and uncertainty. There are so many different things during this period of time that you can probably empathize with and experience. And it's during this time that I've seen people post online memes and images like "turn to God," or "the only thing you need right now is God," or "you don't have to worry about dying from COVID-19, you just have to worry about dying without Jesus." And while I think a lot of people mean well with content like that, I bet if you are someone who is curious about Christianity, or maybe you're not even religious at all, you're irreligious, you look at those and you just are left wondering, how in the world does believing in God help me engage with a global pandemic? How in the world does it actually offer something to me? Or maybe you're even just a Christian, but you just don't see it. You know you're supposed to say things like this. You know you see other Christians say things like this, and it just doesn't click. It just doesn't make sense. And so in the midst of all this uncertainty, in the midst of all this fear, you're left scratching your head and wondering. I wanted to start a conversation to really address this, because I do believe that Christianity, the ways and teaching of Jesus, really do offer us something incredibly unique, powerful, and life-giving during great seasons of uncertainty, fear, and potentially even death. And I wanted to have a conversation about it because I think oftentimes with Christianity, we get the example from Ned Flanders. We get this very safe, super white, super conservative version of religion that we've maybe grown up around, or we've been exposed to on TV or in media, or with a weird uncle or aunt or family member or grandparents. And we just disconnects. It doesn't seem like it has anything of a substantive power to us. And so I wanted to have a conversation because when I look at the words and teachings of Jesus, I see a form of faith that was birthed during a time of great uncertainty, of pandemic, of fear, of economic impoverishment, of violence. That was the fertile soil with which Christianity spread like wildfire. And it wasn't because Christianity was just simply a crutch to help people get through the darkness of night. But there was a way that it actually penetrated someone's heart, mind, and soul and empowered them to engage the world with peace, hope, joy, and love. So that even as it was growing in the Roman Empire, and the Roman Empire began to squash it down and persecute, kill, and execute Christians, many Romans walked away recognizing there's something unique and different about these Christians. They seem to be facing death and fear with abandon and joy and hope and peace, and even sometimes self-sacrificial service to the very people who are persecuting them. That's the type of Christianity that covered the whole known world at the time and continues to spread like wildfire in places that are not familiar or even not friendly towards Christianity, like the former Soviet Union, like Iran, like totalitarian China. All of these different ways. These are the places that Christianity is thriving right now and is exploding and growing, because the ways and teaching of Jesus reject so much of this comfort-oriented religiosity that we see oftentimes in Christianity in the United States. In fact, when I was in my late teens and early 20s, I was getting really close to rejecting Christianity, because what I had seen, it seemed like Christianity was just really a place for super white, super conservative, super safe people to escape from the dangers and fears of a corrupt world around them. And that's why they gathered together. And I was increasingly dissatisfied and disgusted with that. And so as I was digging into, I recognized I was potentially moving into uncharted waters where I would have to leave the faith that I was raised to believe and go somewhere else. And I decided and resolved to myself that I was going to follow the truth no matter where the truth led, even if it led to a place that was inconvenient for how I was was raised and for my parents and for my friends that I had grown up with. And what I found during that journey was that the ways and teaching of Jesus were actually so very different to what I had observed around me. In fact, I found it to be beautiful. I found it to be attractive. I found it to be powerful to help me not only navigate some very challenging periods in my time, but to also empower people to go through some of the most horrific things that people could experience: the loss of loved ones, economic poverty, the loss of everything that they hold dear, and to walk through those periods with joy and hope and peace. In fact, that's why Jesus said to his early disciples that in this world you will have trials and trouble, but take heart, for I have overcome the world. Jesus said those words to people who were brutalized, to people who were oppressed, to people who are longing for liberation, longing for safety, longing for certainty. He says, take heart, I've overcome the world. And another time in the Gospel of Matthew, while talking to people who were just oppressed by poverty, fear, and injustice, he wrote to them that they should not worry. That they shouldn't worry about what they eat or drink or where they will sleep or where they will live or what they will wear. None of those things should cause them worry. He says something pretty profound. He says, how many of you have added a single day to your life? Don't worry. Tomorrow will take care of itself. He says, people who don't know God, he calls them pagans. Even the pagans, they chase after those things because they think in those things that's what they'll find life. But Jesus says, I have come to give you life and life to the full, even in the midst of pain, of poverty, uncertainty, and fear. I think oftentimes the reason why some of the forms of Christianity we've seen have rejected that is because Christianity is something that's difficult to live out. It can be something that's scary. It requires trust. And only things where you experience the potential of being let down force you to live from a place of trust. Christianity is all about trusting the ways and promises of Jesus. G.K. Chesterton put it this way when it comes to Christianity. It's not that Christianity has been tried and found wanting. It's that Christianity has been found too difficult and never tried at all. So over the next week or two, I'm going to just be shooting some videos, and I'll put it on a blog as well, that will just kind of walk through in bite-sized chunks a number of the different ways that Christianity uniquely empowers someone to boldly, courageously, and generously dive into the uncertainty of this pandemic that we're in and walk through it with joy, peace, and hope. I hope that as you experience this, you'll follow along with these conversations. And if you find it helpful, maybe it's something that you could share with someone who's wondering the same thing that you are, and that this may be helpful for them to engage what real Christianity looks like and how it has something to offer them during this great time of uncertainty.